as mighty armies clash in a struggle for total domination.
It's a bad.
Bam. Oh yeah, Gov does awesome work. He has that other video of what the hell? It was like the Transformer scene. It's all just different videos of all of us. Yeah, he does awesome stuff. I wish I was that talented.
So I found a YouTube actually of like an old Transformers episode, like, and I actually watched it. Like you thought it was the greatest thing in the world, but like, it was actually really, really bad. Like it was like cutting edge for '80s TV. But looking
Yeah.
at the modern lens, it's like, it actually wasn't that great, but back in the day, it was incredible.
The stories are good though, like heroism, good versus evil, trials and tribulation, overcoming adversaries.
Yeah,
It
almost like the janky like hand animation, like the little chintzy music, do 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 do. Like it really sounds like I
Mhm.
recorded it in this room right here. Like, and that was like the gold standard in the 1980s.
Yeah, but look at animation now. It looks worse. It looks cleaner, but it looks worse. Plus the toys. The
Oh
toys.
yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
have the original Transformers, Arch?
I had a few. I had like, a lot of He-Man action figures growing up. My favorite was the one where like you had this like little armor thing in the middle, and like every time like you pushed it, would go in and turn, so it was more dense. You could have like simulated fights.
Oh,
my
nice.
God. Jack, you're firing all sorts of what are they called? Synapses in my brain. I remember having the giant Transformers toys when I was a kid. And yeah, I love them so
Which
much.
one?
Oh my God.
Which
I'm
ones did
pretty
you
sure-
have? I used to have the Beast Wars Transformers.
I'm gonna see if I can
Yeah,
find
they had like the thing, like the special thing, like after the original Transformers, like the second iteration, they had like you put 5 of them together into one giant robot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had ones like those when I was a kid.
Dude, if I ever become a millionaire, I might just get the Beast Wars toys again. God damn, they were cool. They're reissuing most of them. I might just get those. I don't care what people think. I'm an adult. I can do whatever I want. I had the entire Dunkin' Donuts breakfast menu and Wendy's breakfast menu. I even had a McFlurry Nesquik today. It's actually pretty good.
Trouble keeping your
Oh my
Georgia
God.
calories up over there.
Is that the Archwinger? Yeah, I think so.
Arch D. Winger, raging internet misogynist.
Legendary raging internet misogynist.
Yeah, the
Yes.
Dinobots did the Voltron thing. What's up, King Trust Issues and Dickie? Hope
We
everybody's
had the
doing
Dinobots
well.
were the response like the Decepticon version with the construction equipment. They
Mhm.
made the big one, and they had to make the dinosaur ones to counter them. There was a whole episode about that.
Man,
It was so
like a
cool.
big deal. Like, we had like a to be continued and had to watch it over 2 days. That was a big deal in the 80s.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Like Kyle, you never watched Dragon Ball Z, did you?
a long time ago when I was a little kid. Yeah. I
Oh
watched-
yeah, but when we got home from school, like school was out at 3 p.m.
yeah.
and we got home at 4 p.m. and Dragon Ball Z was on, and it's like last time on Dragon Ball Z, and then it ended, and it's like, oh my god, what's gonna happen tomorrow? And you talked all day about it on school, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
That was our soap opera, man.
Well,
That
I
was
guess
our soap
serials
opera.
and cartoons like wasn't a thing until a little bit later. Like you're like, a few years younger than I was. Like it was a big deal. We had like an episode that was like to be continued. We'll show you the next episode like next time or something. Until like it's a little older. I think maybe like Gargoyles was the first TV cartoon. When I was a kid, like I was a teenager by then, where they would have like episodic things that would continue as opposed to just random one-offs.
Oh yeah, Gargoyles was pretty good.
Yeah.
It had some cultish following. But I don't think it was mainstream popular.
There was
No.
what was it called? Street Sharks too. Jawsome.
Yeah, they,
Street Jerks.
that was the whole thing about like ever like I guess the Ninja Turtles kind of kicked that off. Like it just had like these animals who like got into strange fighting circumstances, and so they had a whole bunch of different shows of that ilk.
Oh, nice. Like I'm looking at the Beast Wars toys right now, and I'm like, like I said, if I ever no, I will never say it out loud that I'm a millionaire, but there will be signs, man. There will be signs.
Yeah, I think if I ever got there, yeah, you would see a lot more gear in this room. There wouldn't be this El Cheapo Marshall stack that my dad got me when I was 15 years old here anymore. I would have my I kicked myself in the ass for some of the shit I sold. Like I used to have my dad got me this big, beautiful dime half stack, and they only made them for like a few years, so they're incredibly rare. And I sold it. I sold it for like pennies on the dollar. I think I got like $200 or $300 for it. Now you look at it, you get like this big old D100. It's called, for like the double stack, which is a 4x12 cabinet, which is probably the same size as that, with another 4x12 cabinet on top of it. It's almost like $2,000. And I see all the other ones going for like $700 or $800. I'm like, yeah, I should have never had sold that.
Well, would you sell like the Marshall stack? I once had a conversation with my former bass player, and he said, "You never sell your first instrument."
I did.
Never sell.
I regret it, but I did. Well,
my first drum kit, and saying, "Yeah."
I had a first stack guitar. That was the first one I had, which is basically like, it's literally Walmart's brand. Then I had a Squire with some weird paintings on it. I had a Jackson Rhodes V. I kind of regret getting rid of that, but that thing was beat to piss. And then I think I got a PRS after that. It was a Korean one with a Floyd Rose. And I think after that was when I got my Wild Audio one, which is the one that I've been playing out a whole bunch. So I've had like a whole bunch of ones that kind of came and went, but now I'm kind of like at my mainstay point where like all my Jerichos are sticking around. The Wild Audio is not going anywhere. My PRS is sticking around. Pretty much all the ones that like I want to keep, I'm going to keep at this point. It's like that.
Nice.
My Raven right there.
If I become a crypto millionaire, you'll see the exact same background. Jack will ask, "How's everyone doing this week?" I'll be like, "Make up $1 million in crypto," and I'll just like go to work the next day.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? I was talking to people about that. Like, you can say whatever you want, but like, retire. I want to do this internet stuff for a long time. I like doing it. I like doing this internet stuff. I like the writing. I like the live streaming. I like the Twitter shit posting. I mean, what's not to like? Like, can you imagine Cappy actually retiring?
Mm.
That's when old people start to decay, isn't it? Like, just to have life.
So I could think of so many situations where people in the automotive field, obviously, because it's a field that I hail from, they retire and not even in a lot of cases, 6 months later, they're dead.
Yeah.
Literally, like the one dude, my one parts manager, Rich, nicest fucking dude in the world, worked at the last place I worked at for 43 fucking years. He started there when he was 17 years old. 43 years later, 5.5 months after he retired, dropped out of a heart attack.
It's such a shame. My friend had that too. His father worked as a what do you call that? Funeral host? Is that what you call it?
Yeah,
like,
I know what you're referring to. I don't know the exact name.
You're already halfway there, then, Jack.
Yeah, like not a mortician, but like the guy who like does the condolences and things like that. And the man finally retired, and not 6 months later, colon cancer. Not 6 months after that, dead.
Oof.
And it's like, you've worked your entire life, and then you get that, and it's like,
Well, maybe think about it. Like, the body knows what it's done. Like when you're no longer productive, your body kind of like your metabolism slows, your organs start to fail. I mean, it happens like to women too. Like once women get kind of to their menopausal years, suddenly their metabolism stops, and they gain like 500 pounds. They can't get it off. Like just their bodies just stop working right. Like
when they hit 30, I mean, I've seen that with women in their 30s. They get hip issues, they get joint issues, things like that tends to happen.
I mean, evolutionarily, like we were supposed to be done by like 30 or something, and now here we are living to 100. But our bodies don't know what to do with those 70 years.
I think I'm gonna.
I'm kind of
be
like
120. I don't know why.
I'm a little like of two minds of this. Like my bass player, I always hail as like the prime example. I got to get to the super chat real quick. I'm sorry. CGD 499. Thank you. I got a super chat video I got to put on here, but I just don't have it yet. Great chatting with Jack and meeting Archwinger last night. Good to see you too, Kyle. Of course, good to see you. My bass player is 55, and this dude could still do a split, bench press, 245 for reps, run miles, do all this shit. Dude's in fucking good shape for 55. So I think like a lot of this aging stuff, it's kind of cool. People just slow down over time. And there's even data on this where it's just like people do a lot less activity as they get older. Now, you could argue that, hey, maybe there is something going on that's causing them to slow down. But I think if you keep up with it as you get older, I think really all it slows down is your recovery ability. I don't think it's just you just start dying. I think it's
There's
it's
a balance,
choice.
though. I mean, like if you do
Yeah.
so much like weightlifting that now your shoulders and knees start to go when you can't do
Right.
50, then what do you do?
Yeah.
I had a coffee date yesterday, and I met her via the expat community. And a girl didn't know my age, and she's like, "How old are you, actually?" I'm like, "Guess." She's like, 24, 25. I'm like, "I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't care what." Like, yeah, 25. Correct, 25. I'm like,
Yeah.
working out, eating a lot of meat every now and then. You order an entire breakfast menu from a fast food joint, and moisturize, kids, moisturize. Man, look, I'm not gonna lie. Do you guys know Alpha M? Like he's a very energetic New York guy, but he has this company, this skincare company, Tiege Hanley. I'm gonna hit that guy up where it's like, dude, you have a skincare product. Most of my audience is men. I do self-development content. Sponsor my fucking channel, and I will give you clients. Where it's like, because the skincare I have right now, I have to keep importing that from around the world because Jack Black's skincare is being a dick for some reason. But if I could get him to sponsor me, that would just be great. And I don't know how to do it yet.
I mean, his products are good and they're competitively priced. And he's like, put in the Jack Napier code for 10% off. I mean, seems like a match made in heaven.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, buddy, we can do this. We can do this together.
Well, what's stopping you from sending that message right to Fruck now?
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking him up on Twitter. I'm looking up his like, what are your emails? What are your emails? What are your things? Oh, he has an Instagram and 5 other links. Yeah, got them all. Got them all. Thank you. I'm gonna hit that guy up. Like, hey, I love your content. Here's my content.
You got fired up your shitty gym job, so now like your job is internet. So you're working right now.
Well, yeah, there you go. There's it seems to be like tallow is now a big thing ever since like RFK kind of came about. My my singer and bass player have a side business where they sell like tallow and honey stuff, which like they sell like different moisturizers, skincare products, and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe there's like a thing for that.
So like the thing now is put cow fat and bee spit on your face, and that'll help your skin.
Yeah, that's pretty much the idea. I think it's probably just like oils make your skin overall better, like certain oils. Maybe tallow and honey does it, but I use I don't know what the hell the stuff is I use for my scalp, but like when I first started shaving my head, I'm like, okay, I need something to like help keep this all healthy. And yeah, I just bought like a little thing off Amazon for like $20, and it's a real small jar, but I make sure I use it every day so that way the scalp stays nice and healthy and hydrated. I thought there'd be like nothing to going bald, but I mean, there's a little bit of stuff, and I try to keep it like, do some upkeep on my scalp because it feels not only does it feel good, but it also keeps me looking healthy. If you're bald, you're always going to look old, so might as well at least like look good while looking old. And by the way, Mighty Zane, yeah, we skipped Rule Zero yesterday. Everybody had just stuff going on, so we weren't able to do it.
Oh yeah, it's like Easter weekend. It's an interesting holiday. I mean, any other culture, like when something comes back from the dead, zombies, necromancers, vampires, very unholy. But when this Jesus guy does it, he gets a pass.
Says the Jordanian, of course. Of course, you would have a grudge with that.
I'm saying, he comes back from the dead. He throws this rock off of his tomb, and like people see him coming out of there, like, oh crap, hope he's not here to get revenge on everybody, and instead he just flies up to heaven, like, that's all right.
There we go. I mean, those are most religions. Like, we had a guy this morning popping up in the stream, and he was talking about religion all of a sudden as well, and I was like, huh? Like, where did that come from? Like, was he listening into us making fun about like the Jordanians or something? And he's like, well, are you agnostic or are you religious? Was a great guy though. He was very intelligent. That kind of threw me off where I was like, oh, I didn't even think about religion. I rarely think about religion in all honesty.
I missed a reference to religion or something you were talking about. I didn't think we really touched on God or religion at all.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't know exactly where he was coming from, but like I rarely think about that topic where it's like, am I religious? And I couldn't tell you for the life of you. Like, do I practice religion? No, not really. Am I a theist? No. I was raised Christian. I know that, but that was mostly because of school. My parents weren't. Like, my dad was at work and my mom was lying on the couch. So most of the theology came from school because I went to a Christian middle school. And I went to church a couple of times. I tried the evangelical church, the community. But I just always thought it was very shaming. Like everything was so based on shame. Like shame. It's like, look, I know I'm a sinner. I know I've done evil things. I know I'm not a good person. But I don't need everybody to keep telling me that. You know?
What do you do with that? They can't tell you it's okay. Like, just do whatever, you're forgiven. It's all okay, and normalize it. You're supposed to endeavor not to. And what motivates you not to? They have to tell you it's wrong and you are wrong. I mean, they can't let you sin. But then, I guess the goal of religion is they, have to give you a set of rules that are good for society and good for the faith. And then they have to make those rules and the consequences for deviating from them irritating enough that you follow them, but not so irritating that you don't want to be part of the religion. And so there's that sweet spot there.
Yeah, I mean, I still consider myself like an agnostic theist, where like I would err on the side that there probably is something, but I just don't know. And yeah, Siege is right. People call it the Ortho Bros, Jim Bob, Jay Dyer, David Patrick Harry. I like these people a lot, but I don't know. I can never be convinced. Like, is there something up there? I don't know. How do you prove it? People say, oh, well, you can know, like the people that SCG mentioned would make like the transcendental argument for God. Like, okay, well, you have to presuppose a knower, and presupposing a knower presupposes knowledge. And you just keep going back and back and back and back. And eventually that proves God. I just don't necessarily find that very compelling. And maybe this is just because I'm not the brightest, bulb in the chandelier, so to speak. But I haven't had an argument that just like convinces me. I haven't had an event in my life that convinced me. My wife is a Protestant, not like a practicing Protestant, but she just said, hey, I've had enough experiences in my life that I believe this. I still believe like religion generally is a good thing, but and this sounds so arrogant to me, I just can't be convinced. And like I said, maybe that's due to my own stupidity or lack thereof stupidity, but I just, every time I get somebody arguing with me about it, I'm just like, I can't be convinced of it. And it's not because I think it's bad, because I think you're wrong. It's just, for me, I was always told, like, to know a fact, you have to have like a mathematical equation to prove something. And for me, when people start arguing religion, it's just like, I can't get there.
Well, that's the defining characters of faith, is without having it proved, you have to believe it. I don't know.
Right.
My biggest beef with like the main religions is the way they humanize God, which I understand the goal is to make him approachable.
Mhm.
But then when I picture God, literally God, as this old man sitting in a throne in the clouds who has all of these opinions about the little things I do in my life. Like, the things
Mhm.
I do affect God's emotional state. Like, it just seems like arrogant. I know what God wants and he's watching me and I affect his emotions. Like, like, how petty is God? Like, I prefer to think of God as some kind of, a force so incomprehensible it would be offensive for me to try to impart my own human characteristics on him and think he's like me.
Mm.
Like, God's an electron or something. He's holding the universe together in ways I can't even fathom.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really reasonable way to put it too, that like we can't comprehend it. I actually, yeah, that's a really good way to put it, that like, yeah, I don't think if we ever do know God, then it's like, I don't think it'll be within our understanding as we kind of understand it right now. Like, we may not even have a language to put it. So like, when I hear people saying like God, I have a friend that when another podcaster goes live, and I don't want to like name drop or anything, but they're like, oh, God's favorite show is on, or like God would want you to do this. Like, I don't know, like these people who just use God to manipulate you, I just find that very like low class and trashy. You know what I mean? Like, when they're constantly saying like God would want you to vote for Trump, God would want you to vote for Kamala or this or that. I just like, to me, it just seems like you're really cheapening your own argument. Like, I don't think God has a political agenda. Or like, even when people would say, "Oh, God saved Trump," like mandate from heaven.
No. That was Shinzo Abe, the Japanese Prime Minister, Shinzo
Oh, yeah.
Abe.
Yeah.
I love those memes.
I just, But like I said, when I see people using religion to beat people over the head for their political narrative, I think that's gross. Like to me, that just seems disrespectful to religion as a whole.
Then our
It is.
monotheistic God is like the long-term descendant of like Zeus and Hera and stuff. Like back when gods were portrayed as like these vengeful, petty teenagers who like have love trysts with mortals, and like if you piss your God off and don't sacrifice the right things, he'll make your harvest suck. Like our God is descended from those ideas, so maybe he just hasn't finished transcending into becoming this incomprehensible thing yet. We still think of the old man on the throne who has opinions.
No, remember that Family Guy joke where Stewie reads the Bible? I love this Old Testament God. He's so vengeful. He smites everybody, throws them to the lions, drowns them in blood. I love this man. So what the hell, Stewie? But you're right. Most of it all comes from like old pagan religions that have gone through thousands and thousands of years and then got modernized, or however you want to call it.
Well, I mean, in the
What
spirit
we
of
now,
Easter, there's this story of like the Son of God who came to Earth, walked around and performed miracles. His whole life, everyone knew he was special. He went to the realm of the dead and came back out, and and kept doing things on Earth. And this man is, of course, Hercules. And every society, every culture has some story of some hero like that who becomes like almost like a zealous religious icon. So like if you think about it, maybe like the Christians stole the Jesus story from Hercules or something.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, there's something interesting, and this kind of almost goes into like the Jordan Peterson arguments, as cringy as that is, where like a lot of this stuff almost seems innate because like you see these themes repeated in culture after culture after culture, where we identify with like a lot of movie themes and kind of like you were just saying, like Hercules, like that same story's retold, but you change out the names, the characters, the places, but the general theme is always the same.
I mean, every good story, is it's either like an N or a W. Like the W story, is like Cinderella's, a slave. Then she can't go to the ball. Then her fairy godmother comes. And she loses her glass slipper, and then in the end she's okay. I mean, and that's the same story arc for the Cinderella, same story arc for the Dog Walker by Ryan Stone. Like same story arc. That the W tells every story. My wife's like reading a story, whatever the latest one, the Fourth Wing is, and she's telling me a little bit about it. It's like, oh yeah, it's a W.
Mm. Yeah, I think I remember learning about it when I was a kid, like the plot where you have your like starting, you have your rising action, your peak, your falling action, and then kind of the credits. Where I guess I'd be kind of like that W that you're referring to, unless I'm full of shit.
I mean, when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, a story,
Yeah.
you got your first conflict, you almost rise out of it, you think it's all going to be good. Then,
Mhm.
surprise, there's another bad thing, but then everything comes out okay. And like every movie you've seen follows that, every good book.
Yeah. Why did Cinderella's glass slipper not transform back at midnight? I don't know. Need to play my electric guitar again. Hercules and Disney's Hercules are two different stories. Yeah. I mean, I think
Yeah.
everybody loves the Disney Hercules, but I'm not sure what he's referring to about like the OG Hercules, just because I'm like a retard. I don't read all that much. And while you were mentioning like the way that kind of movies go there, Arch, I remember Alien. The reason why I loved Alien so much is because like spoiler for everybody who hasn't watched Alien, at the very end in the original Alien, I think what made this movie so great. And there's like a real charm to old movies where like the alien reveal in the 1970 fucking 9 Alien movie, to finally see the alien in the movie was just awesome because like you see little bits and pieces of it every here and there, and then the one dude's going through the vents, and then you see him, come the xenomorph come out, and then it pans to another screen. Just like those little moments, they couldn't. Everything was so jank back then; they couldn't really depend on CGI or anything like that. So they really had to like hype that up, which I think was really really cool. So they get off the whatever the hell the Weyland Yutani ship, and then Sigourney Weaver or what's her name? Oh, I can't believe I can't remember her name. Whatever. Ellen Ripley. Ellen Ripley's on the ship and everything's fine, right? It's towards the end of the movie. There's only literally like 15 minutes left. And she's getting ready to put herself into cryo. And then the xenomorph comes out of like all the wires and the side of the thing. And this is literally in like the last 15 minutes of the movie where you think they'd be wrapping everything up. And then, she surely enough kind of kicks the xenomorph basically out of the airlock and then goes into cryogenic sleep. Just like that in the Alien movie was always really, really neat because like in the end, you think, falling action, but then you get that little ass spike. And this is why also Alien Romulus, which I'm going to give another spoiler, so fast forward or pause, skip over, mute it, whatever. They do something very, very similar at the end of Alien Romulus, which was really neat because like Alien Covenant and Prometheus, and also Alien Covenant and Prometheus didn't really have that same deal at the very end of it. Alien Romulus kind of threw it all the way back to like the old school days where like, okay, at the end of the movie, we're going to give you another surprise. And, the character really has to struggle at the very end with something that could really fuck him up.
Well, that was a common trope, like the one last jump scare, or like you showed an alien at the very end of the credits, so you know there's going to be another movie. That became a thing in a lot of action movies.
Get your hands off her, you bitch! That was that, all right?
So that was 1979 with Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, the OG Alien was 1979.
Damn,
Yeah, I mean,
movies were great.
Back then, we had this, badass female protagonist. And people are saying these women were being portrayed in movies, and like no guy was like, she can't do that. She's a girl. Like we thought she was badass.
Yeah, but like the other thing is that they didn't make her like the like, look, she's a woman doing all this stuff. Like it was kind of like, I remember listening to somebody talk about Alien Isolation, which is just like one of the most awesome fucking survival horror games ever made. There's so many deep dives on like how complex the AI is for the xenomorph in Alien Isolation, but like the weapons and the design of the map and everything you do in Alien Isolation is kind of jank because the original movie, same deal. They're on, the Weyland-Yutani, whatever the fuck it's called, and they kind of had to make do with what they had to fight off the alien. So like in that respect, it was kind of cool because you didn't have perfect characters where like you fast forward to Star Wars episode 7, whatever the fuck it was called, The Force Awakens, where Rey is just a Mary Sue, where she's just awesome because she's a woman. She can't do anything wrong. She picks up a lightsaber for the first time and she just kicks ass with it. There's
Why
no
is the Millennium Falcon better than Han Solo?
Yeah, exactly.
Swims better than Michael Phelps despite growing up on Tatooine.
Yeah, exactly. But like the alien wasn't that. Like she barely got off the ship by the skin of her teeth. Everybody else died, and she hardly got the alien out of the airlock. That was cool.
But Ripley didn't survive because she was a woman. She survived and just happened to be a woman.
Exactly.
Yeah. Instead of these days, it's
lucky, and she became like the main character in like so many subsequent movies. There's a whole lore, like she became like the badass in all the movies.
Yeah, and then you have Sarah Connor from Terminator 1 and 2.
And in Terminator 1, she was this dinky woman who like had all this thrust upon her, and she like had to be saved every 5 minutes. She was terrible, and then like by the next movie, she's a badass.
Yeah, which makes sense because after you've gone through that traumatic experience, you kind of want to take care of yourself. Where it's like, now the machines are coming, and I ain't sitting
coming
down.
Again. My son's important. I got a mama bear out and protect him, so I can learn how to use a firearm or 2 or 20.
Yeah, and Alien 2 was kind of the same deal where like, how are we going to beat that queen xenomorph? And another spoiler, at the very end of the movie, she gets into that machine that's like supposed to move stuff around and then forces it down into the airlock and shoots it out there again. But same deal all throughout the movie, very careful, very ghetto weapons. It was hard, but she kind of had experience from dealing with xenomorphs, obviously from the first movie. So, it wasn't forced on you that like Ellen Ripley's incredible because she's a woman. It was like, oh no, she is skilled in the second movie because she dealt with the xenomorph before, but there were still other people who were skilled in that movie. And the alien was like the whole alien situation in Alien 2 was completely different than the original. Now, okay, so what do you guys think? Because I've never seen Terminator 2.
You haven't seen Terminator 2?
No, I was trying to watch it, but I couldn't find it for free, and I didn't want to pay for it.
But, dude, how can you not have seen Terminator 2?
Yeah, Terminator 1 was better. Terminator 1 was a great movie,
Okay.
And then when you get to Terminator 2, like, it turned out like a lot of kids like Terminator 1, so they made it more of a kiddie movie. They got like young John Connor, and this, and like Arnold Schwarzenegger comes back as a good guy to protect him now. And have almost like a little buddy thing between the robot and the little boy. Like, it make it more kid friendly. But
you're the first person ever who I hear say that, Arch. Everybody is always like Terminator 2 is the best sequel ever.
Okay,
Which
that's
what
I would argue.
It was a good sequel. I mean, the liquid metal terminal was really cool, but like I think Terminator 1 was a better movie.
Mm.
Okay, I mean, you're right. I mean, Ryan once said that Terminator 2 is actually a nightmare. It's a horror film about a single mom and the dad who stepped up. That the Terminator is just a stepdad.
You know, maybe.
Yeah,
that's
he
pretty much
mentioned
all I've
that. He's
heard.
like, yeah, no, man, it's a single mommy fantasy story where the stepdad is a cool, awesome, jacked Austrian who steps up and takes care of her filthy crotch goblin. It's like,
And he's not threatening. He's a robot. He's not gonna try to have sex with her. I mean, but then also he's initially frightening because he's the same one who actually had to like kill in the first movie.
Mm.
yeah. It's like, huh, what an interesting take. I've never looked at that movie the same ever again.
All right, Marty. I will watch Terminator 2 today. While my beef is busy thawing, I'm going to watch Terminator 2. Me and the dogs are going to sit down. I'm going to grab a Diet Pepsi and we're going to watch Terminator 2. That's the plan today now.
Oh man, that scene with the arm. I remember because I watched it way too young. I was like 7, maybe 8, and it was on TV.
Mm.
And I remember watching it, and I thought it was so fucking cool. And then you have the scene where Arnold and I won't spoil it too much, but like Sarah Connor, Arnold, and John show up at the guy who makes Skynet, and they have to prove he's the Terminator, and it's so fucking awesome. Where it's like, I watched that as a kid when I was like, oh my god. Arts knows what I mean. Arts knows the scene with
Yeah,
the arm,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh wow, that was so cool. I watched that way too young. My mom should have paid way more attention to me than she did. But yeah, the best sequel ever, though, I think. I mean, first of all, Lord of the Rings doesn't count. Let's be honest here. Lord of the Rings does not count. It's one movie.
Mhm.
The
Yeah, it
trilogy
was
is
really,
one
really
movie.
long movie.
I've still never watched Lord of the Rings.
You could read the books and write a book.
You
about it,
really
based
are
off those
testing
movies.
our friendship today, Kyle. Where it's like I stopped playing Wind Waker, never seen Terminator 2, never
Yeah.
seen Lord of the Rings. It's like, what next? Sarah's a man?
I don't think so.
What's next? You beat puppies or something? Jesus.
No, I'd never do that. I could probably call one of them up here right now. Now I just didn't watch a lot of movies growing up. So like Alien is like the first series that I'm like, okay, I know a lot about. Well, I mean, I guess Star Wars too, because I watched Star Wars all throughout the time I was a kid, but like I didn't watch a lot of movies or anything like that growing up. I did play a fuckload of games, but no, I know I'm losing credibility with my audience here.
Quitting
Yeah.
Wind Waker was the worst, though, where it's like, how can you not keep playing Wind Waker?
I
This is-
really wanted to start playing something, or I forget what got me on the Dead Rising kick, but I'm like, I really want to play through Dead Rising again. So I literally set up an Xbox right here, and in my spare time I would just be playing it up here. But
the
now,
original Wind Waker, though, gets a little bit tiresome with the 8 Triforce pieces, which because of the speed of the GameCube, the reissue is way better. The reissue is so much better.
That's the one that I have right now. For PC, I was able to get it. Yeah, Aliens was a great sequel. Yeah, I think I'm gonna finally watch Terminator 2 today. I haven't seen. Speaking of like the old horror movies, I liked the original Predator, but I think I don't know. I'd probably have to watch Predator all over again, but I don't know. I think Alien was a better series than Predator, and then like one of the better movies to come out of the whole Predator series was Prey, which is the one that came out in 2022 that had the feral predator, I think it was called, which is like one of the coolest enemies, like CGI creatures ever. But like the rest of the Predator movies weren't all that great. Like Predator 2 was okay. The ones that came out after that, the Alien versus Predators were just kind of like fanfare. Just like, oh, look at this cool sci-fi mashup. And then there were like 2 that came out. There was, what the hell was it? Predators. I can't remember the 2 that came out like 2000 and then 2011, but they weren't that good. But then Prey came out, and Prey was fucking awesome. But
I still haven't seen Predator.
Yeah, Prey had like a female main character, and it was kind of like that, chick kind of stuff. But the overall movie was still pretty good. Like the setting was cool, and then obviously like the feral predator was just fucking badass. So
yeah, I've seen the
girl
first.
Wasn't Mary Suish then? She was more like the girl in Scream or something.
Scream were
Prey?
good films.
Oh yeah, I never played or I never watched Scream either.
Oh, I was
No,
thinking,
that one I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a Scream 5 now. There's even a
yeah,
series
they
of
kept going.
Scream.
The first movie was fine, and everything after it sucked. I have only seen like the first couple, but like to get worse and worse reviews. I'm just thinking like when you start
Uh,
just got like a female prey character who's kind of badass, but not really. Like like that's what I'm picturing. Is she succeeds in the end. She seems to be unkillable, but is not actually perfect at everything.
Mm.
I guess it's kind of like the Forrest Gump, saying like your mistakes don't matter. Like you're going to turn out okay in the end, no matter how dumb you are.
Mm. Jay. What about Escape from New York? No, I never heard of that. Yeah,
You've
I
never
did.
seen. Oh, although, in all honesty, I haven't seen Escape from New York until last year. So
I'm not sure I've even heard of it. Let me see.
Big
Escape.
Trouble in Little China. It's also like one of those. What's his name? Kurt Russell films. Like Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York. There's another one with Snake Plissken. Arch, help me out here. Is that Escape from New York 2? No, it isn't.
I don't watch nearly as many movies as you have.
Really? I thought you were like the movie buff here. I know you watched more anime than I did, but I will let you know when I get Dragon Quest, the HD remakes. I want those.
I only play like the 8-bit Dragon Warrior on like the NES. I never played any of the future Dragon Quest games, but it's supposed to have been pretty good with the improvements on the original.
Escape from LA. Thank you. Escape from LA.
Yeah, and I was a Nintendo boy growing up, and not like the Super Nintendo, like the 8-bit system and stuff. And then I watched like whatever movies were popular at the time when I was a kid, but not like I just like watch everything religiously. My parents were cheap.
Fair.
Jewish.
I mean, they are Jordanians. Hey, Kyle left us.
Yeah, you have a token Jew on the channel. You can say a J word. Plus, like we're 36 minutes in.
That's true. But I don't want to nuke Kyle's channel, although he left us alone. So now we can do whatever we want.
I think we're in charge.
It's just hilarious.
Now, my favorite like girl, superhero. Actually, so in the 1980s, we were all playing our NES systems in like elementary school and stuff. And I think like one of my friends was the first one to beat the original Metroid game in a reasonable amount of time. Like it took us kids forever. And like when you do like the big reveals or the credits scene, like Samus's helmet or suit comes off, depending on how quickly you beat the game. It turns out, whoa, this main character Metroid was a girl all along.
Oh yeah, Samus Aran. Yeah,
and like they're going to have like 50 Metroid games now following Samus's lore and all that. It's the coolest thing ever because no one's like, a girl can't do that. And I remember being kids in the 1980s, we thought Samus being a girl as a reveal was badass. Like we wanted to meet more girls like her.
Unfortunately, like didn't like Samus Aran was revealed in a bikini, right? Something like that.
If you beat the game in an obscene amount of time, but yeah, once she takes her whole spacesuit off, I guess you wear a bikini under it, which I guess makes sense.
No.
Oh, geez, were you guys? Sorry, my computer crashed out because I'm trying to mix the footage.
I mean, that's the biggest reason why I play Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just Dark Magician Girl. I mean, I want a girl to cosplay for me as Dark Magician Girl, but she needs to look like her, like the wavy blonde hair, the big fucking green blue eyes, and the massive freaking tits.
Nice.
The zongas, jugs,
The
jugulars.
Metroid was I fucking love the old Metroid games. From CG, the only thing saving our relationship, Kyle, is our love for Pantera. Yeah, well, you will never find somebody who has any shortage of love for Pantera right here. Yeah, apparently my computer. I need to update some shit on my computer. I'm like a boomer with this stuff.
I religiously refuse all updates. I'm on my work computer. I'm like, Windows 11 doesn't like turn your computer into like an ad machine, try to make it into a cell phone or something. And so finally we had to because they stopped supporting our version. And now I get ads on my fucking work computer. I'm like, this is Microsoft Windows. I don't want your ads. You're Lenovo this, and you're like, try this game. Like you're my work computer, and I'm getting ads. What the hell? What are you guys reading?
What?
It's so damn interesting.
Sorry, my band's arguing with me about how tall I am. Pissing me off.
Oh, funny.
Because I got called. Someone thought I'd be taller. I'm 5'11", and they're saying I'm not 5'11".
Uh-oh. No. I mean, let them be, let them be. But Arch, what were you saying? Sorry, we were getting distracted. The expat community, Max was hitting me up. We were talking about Poland shooting illegals at the border.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, Poland does that. Poland does not give a crap.
Yeah, the Pulsar sometimes a little base, sometimes not. Everybody kind of has their moments. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
I mean, any other country, you try to sneak into their country, they shoot you, or they do catch you, they put you in a prison,
Yeah.
much less nice than ours. If we do anything even half that bad, we're bigots.
It's
Yeah. We're afraid to hurt anybody's feelings anymore. That just is what it is, unfortunately.
I mean, we like in the expat community today as well. They were apparently there was this one black girl, and the Russians weren't having it, and then she freaked the fuck
Mhm.
out.
Yeah, I gotta say, like as allegedly, racist as we are up here in the U.S. and the West, you go like to any other country, and we're talking like, throw bananas at you, hooting monkey noises, actually think you're inferior because of the color of your skin. Not
Dude,
like there's some systemic thing where you get bad outcomes, like actually hoot at you and throw bananas. Like,
Mhm.
and we don't do that shit in the U.S. Other countries, they're apparently the gold standard that we should aspire to.
oh yeah, Japan does not give a fuck. Japan does not give a crap. But I mean, with Japan, and I'm not gonna lie, I get it. Because Japan is such a polite society in general, and urban culture is not, and it's loud and it's obnoxious. And then you have these streamers who show up there and they mess up the entire society. Yeah, then the population of Japan is gonna go hard on you. It's like, you're not welcome here. We don't care about you. Then
Yeah.
they're going to have posters with polite members of society displayed as well behaving Samaritans, and monkeys displayed as the obnoxious people visiting them. And the sign will say in Japanese, "Don't be a monkey." It's like,
Old school Japan, like,
Mhm.
like husbands and wives didn't touch in public, just out of respect for everyone. And like when you met someone, you wouldn't say, "Hi, how are you?" Because that would be like nosy. You would just say, "The weather is nice, isn't it?" And they would respond that they find the weather pleasant or unpleasant to kind of indirectly hint their mood, Or you get home from your date with a girl and you don't say, "Hey, want to come up and fuck?" You say, "Do you like coffee in the morning?" And regardless of her stance on coffee, if she says she likes coffee, she's coming up with you.
Mhm.
Those little politenesses. Jack's getting into expat drama again. He is an expat. Jack, you're causing drama, man.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine like to that point, if you're in like the expat community, wouldn't it be because like you don't want to deal with that shit? But I guess it's just like people can't live without just some kind of drama, the highs and lows. I know we always talk about that in respect to like kind of giving your woman a little bit of excitement, but it just seems like apparently that's like a universal thing. People just need some kind of excitement.
I don't get it. Like, I want to leave. Like, I'm sick of
Yeah.
seeing, like all this polarized crap in the U.S. I'm sick of the economy sucking, the dollar getting worse. Like, I want to take my crypto. I want to go to the jungles of Costa Rica
Mhm.
and like never see another human for weeks, just me and my family. And like, the idea of expats, like getting into drama like that, like I would rather never see another human than have to deal with that crap.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I'm a pretty social person, so I enjoy the company of other people, but I couldn't imagine just like I thought when I got into the working world that I wouldn't deal with high school drama, and then you get into the working world, even when you work with all dudes, and you still find out that some of them just behave like cunts sometimes just because it's not that day. And like I'm not above it either. There's some days where I just don't feel like doing shit, but like I know from being in more of like a leadership position at my job that it's like, oh yeah, some days just like guys are just they're acting like total girls.
High school never ends, and high school
No.
is important training for your future, not the academics, but learning how to navigate that social scene.
mhm.
Mhm.
Like I said, it's hilarious, but it's always the chicks, man. It's always the fucking chicks who they need drama. They need that indignation. Like when dudes get together, it's like there's barely no drama.
Mhm.
And if there is, we'll say it to each other's face, where it's like, hey, that's not cool. It's like, oh, okay, moving on.
Yeah.
But with chicks, it's always like, oh, did you hear what he said? I don't think that's polite. I don't think that should be allowed. It's like everything's allowed. Shut the fuck up. Meanwhile, they're acting all tough, trying to be one of the boys, and then the boys actually act like boys, and it's like, oh, why did you do that? It's like, well, because you set the tone. You have set the tone that this was allowed, and
Mhm.
now you are facing the consequences of trying to set that tone. So sucks to be you. You know, if you want to make gay jokes and race jokes and whatever religious jokes and sexist jokes, you're gonna get it.
Drama, though, is also, I mean, women have a difficult time just being. Like, you wake up every day, you go to work, you come home, you cook food, you go to bed. Like, you just do what you have to do and go from day to day. Every day is mostly the same. You feel mostly the same. Like, I think women kind of starve and stagnate in that a lot, more easily than men do. So there's this impetus for change, always feeling like we're progressing towards something or escaping from something. Like, women kind of need that feeling. And creating drama is one way to keep change coming.
Yeah, that actually.
Wait, how do you mean?
Well, like a woman has a hard time just being. A woman needs to feel she is progressing somewhere or working for the next weekend or going to her next escape or vacation or
The
preparing for a
structure.
move. Yeah, a woman's always looking for the next job or the next man or the next vacation or like there needs to be some sense of progress or change in her life. Just being day to day to day and never changing, always just wake up, go to work, come home, do the same thing and feeling the same all the time is very difficult for them.
Mm. So they want that chaos.
That chaos, I mean, not really. It doesn't feel good. They want to feel good, but they need change because when they stagnate, they don't like the way that feels either. And so creating drama is like them lashing out because they feel trapped or stagnant.
So
Yeah,
creating
well-
drama is like that change they seek.
Yeah, chaos will shake something up. They don't always know what's going to happen, but it'll change something.
Well, yeah, like I think Tarch's point is that like
It's their escapism.
they feel like something's going on. Like if you give them drama of some sort, they feel like now they're not in the same place anymore and they have something to kind of work towards. So even if it's like a bad thing, then it still gives that sense of progression because you're working towards something different.
I mean, we have that dynamic in my house, for example. I am really, really good at getting everything in our house from not fine to fine. And once everything is fine, I just go through my day and everything's fine. But my wife would like some things to go from fine to great. But I'm just working at my capacity to keep everything at fine. That's fine. What's everything gets to fine, I stop. And she's like, well, we need to do this and this and this. And so she's kind of the impetus for getting a couple things from fine to good, whereas I just get everything to fine and just stop working absent external influence. I'm good with everything just being easy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe to that point too is that there's almost like a thing of diminishing returns there where like if you get everything to fine, it takes a decent bit of effort, but to go from fine to great, you may have to put in exponentially more effort with exceedingly less and less return. Or like the meme literally is true where like when I first moved into my house, I remember one of the first times when my wife ever came over, she was like, it looks like nobody lives here. I'm like, and like I'm good with this. And then
I
now,
love the memes. Men can live like this and see there's nothing wrong.
yeah, exactly.
That's
I mean,
kind of like the place where I live now, where it's like,
Mm.
I have a balcony and I have a couch and a bed. I wouldn't even need the couch, in all honesty. I can stay in the bed all day. I don't fucking care. I'll sit straight up. I really don't give a damn. Though I want to go back to the other Airbnb because they had like a high sleeper, one of those like king size hotel beds. And it had a mirror at the head of the bed that was like almost like wall length, where I'm like, oh yeah. It's like, I want that. I want that.
Well, I mean, along those lines, like, if you have a mattress on the floor, you're fine. Your room is adequate. It functions as a room. But to go from fine to good, like, well, sure, a new bedroom set's great, but that costs $10,000. The fancy bedroom set with like the Tempur-Pedic mattress and the adjustable base and the mirror behind it, that's super great, but that costs like $30,000. At that point, I'm like, well, yeah, I can go from fine to great, but I could do a lot more with $30,000 and put my bedroom from fine to great. I could actually do something that's more important to me. And then you have those. I think every guy has a few things that are important to him that he wants to be great, but not always the same things as a woman would want.
My bed. I think that, like, for me, I don't know. What do I really care about? Because even if I have fancy clothing, I barely wear them. I have one pair of handmade leather boots that are $400, and I barely wear them.
Yeah, I got a
You're gonna
set
scuff
of
under your feet.
yeah, I got a
But
set of really nice Carolinas that were probably like $200 or $300. They're like probably 10 years old at this point, and I really only wear them to do yard work. But like, I'm not going to buy a cheap pair of boots. I have some like nice dress shirts too. I don't wear them all that often. Like, I got the shirt when I was in Universal Studios because I fucking love Jaws and I love sharks. So it was kind of
fair. But
There's
what
like
was
a
it?
7-pack of shirts on Amazon.
yeah.
There's like 7 different colors. It's like a 7-pack of like gym shirts.
Mm.
Let's see. There's something else. I have a bathrobe that was $10, €10, and I've been wearing that now for I don't know how many years, and it's all torn up and it's falling apart, and I'm still not getting a new one. It's like my bed, like my coat and the bed, my winter coat especially. I don't want to be cold. I have a winter coat that is like an actual Hugo Boss. Like, I'm not going to show you, Arch. I don't want you to have a traumatic experience.
That's too bad. I'll arm the space laser just in case.
But like that thing was like 500 to 600, and that is almost 8 years old. But it keeps me warm during winter. Like, it's over the knees. It's like, I love that thing. I need to get it repaired though. I'm gonna hand it off to like a couple of these old spinster women who have their like sewing store. Just drop it off there. I did it before. They did a great job. Never do it with the brand itself.
You can never find, at least for me, I don't know of anybody that does like good sewing. So I like have a nice pair of pants that I need a button sewn back on, and like I don't know where I would go or who I would go to do that. Like, that's not like, maybe there is somebody around, but like it's not something that jumps out at me, you know?
If you like, ask women, if you find a good alterationist, like dig your heels in. Like, it's hard to find a good. There are lots of like really, really bad ones. If you find a good one, that's like secret girl knowledge. Like, if you need your dress hemmed or something, like But yeah, if you ask the women around you.
And we're back.
I think that kind of goes with everything. Where like even like if you find somebody good at setting up guitars, in my situation, I don't know of anybody that sets up guitars well enough. So it's so frustrating. Like, I'm starting to learn to do it because I just don't know anybody that's like affordable and that I'd want to set up my guitars. So there it is.
Dude, I have good news. I finally broke the dip on Substack. Finally, we broke it. Oh my God. I'm so happy. I am so happy right now.
You're rich again?
Nice.
I'm rich again. Well, not rich, but it's not. My Substack, like the paid supporters were dropping, and like I get one, I'd lose two. Then I get two, I'd lose one. It just stagnated. Where it's like I get new ones, two would leave, blah, blah, blah. And now we're finally at that point again where it's going up, where it's linear going up again, where it's like we had a dip, we kept going, we didn't stop, and we're back.
Probably Substack probably has some seasonal stuff. I mean, like, it's tax season now, so people are reevaluating their subscriptions to everything. I mean, there's probably a normal seasonal dip in the spring.
Probably. It is tax season.
Yeah, I mean,
Jack and I were talking about that a little bit beforehand, and I there's no real good metrics to check. I told him, you could look at the essays you put out, and maybe people are like, "Oh, this is dog shit, I'm unsubscribing." But at the same time, that's not even perfect, because maybe they were just like, "Oh, I don't have the money to pay for the subscription right now, so I'm just going to cancel." So yeah, it's tough.
Substack asks people to put in a reason, but few people do. And I mean, how honest are it? And crowdsourcer. I mean, I have never understood like putting out an internet essay that is so good it's worth money. Like, I'm not an expert on anything. Like, I actually write some on patent law. That's what I do for a living or something. I actually have credentials for that. Like, me spouting my opinion about women and relationships, or what I think about a political issue, or what I think God is, like, that's worth money to people. Like, someone would pay me $5 a month to read my random pontifications about that. That's crazy. I mean, I hope what I write's entertaining, but like, I don't come from a universe where that's worth money, but apparently to some people it is.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, where like I would find it hard to part with money for stuff like that. And I realize I offer memberships for my YouTube channel where people could watch my band, but people do it, so it is what it is. I appreciate it either way, It's just like I think a lot of people are hard up for cash now anyways. The economy's not the best it could be, and people don't have tons of spare cash, so maybe they're looking at it like, this just isn't the best investment of my time right now.
Yeah, I mean, imagine when the economy gets good and the economy gets bad, like you see all commensurate dips in your social media subscriptions and stuff. But I don't know, I've never tried to make money on the internet.
Yeah, it's not. I feel like if you're a woman, it's a lot easier. If I'm being completely honest, or if you're like super niched in. But for guys who just kind of do stuff like we kind of all do, I don't think it's that particularly easy to monetize what you do. Like I've thought about doing like a whole EV course, if you will, or like kind of really getting into EV stuff and breaking down the markets and the sourcing and how the vehicles run and everything like that. But like the amount of effort it would take me to do all that, and then especially like continue learning about EVs, because I already know a fuck ton about them, but it's just like the amount of effort to keep doing that is just so much when I already have so much on my plate. Like my wife was asking me about doing taking on personal training clients, and it's like ugh, podcasting, band, work, kid on the way. Like, when am I gonna fucking find time to do personal training stuff? As cool as it would be, and like I genuinely enjoy teaching people about fitness and stuff like that. It's just like, when am I gonna find the time?
Yeah, Jack's in the enviable position where, no wife, no kids. He can just up and move to to the coast of Georgia, where if he
Yeah.
has 200 Substack followers or something, that's enough money for him
And
to
no,
pay
the
rent.
goal is 200 Substack, 200 paid Substack followers. I'm at 72 right now. And the link is in the chat for people who care. You can check it out for free, don't worry. But if you will choose to support it, it's for the price of a coffee. So, And I opened up coaching again as well, but this time only for one person because I don't want to do the group thing anymore. Kyle, you okay if I drop the link?
Yeah, no, of course.
Okay. So it's like personalized
Jack
training
here, as I was
program.
saying, has the freedom where he can move somewhere where it's like cheap enough that he can like buy out the breakfast menu at Wendy's every morning and like
Yeah.
pay for his Airbnb and do it all as like his internet scrapings.
Yeah, and see, like there is something to exactly that where like I would love to start a new job and do something else that isn't fixing cars, but it's like, okay, well, I make better money than the average bear when it comes to fixing cars, and I can't afford to take a huge hit on my overall like paycheck to go do something else because where I'm at in my life. And that to kind of have that freedom to do that, I'm definitely a little envious.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 10-ish years ago now, give or take, maybe a little less. It was before COVID. I was reading some article and like people were discussing it, like about how like there's money now in these female-dominated fields. Like it's coming up in teaching. Nurses is really popular and stuff, but like men are too like bigoted and misogynistic to go into these female-dominated fields. And I'm like, no. It's like a man who's like got a family of 4 can't quit his job and then pay to go to nursing school for 4 years and then finally emerge as like a first-year nurse, and work his way up the ranks. Like he can't afford that drop in pay for 4 years. Like once you have a job, you're kind of on that path.
Yeah, exactly. Like once you're kind of there, it is tough to, because people bring it up, but it is true. Like lifestyle creep is a thing where just you get to a certain point, it's like, all right, well, I got a mortgage, I got tool payments, I got all this other stuff. How long am I supposed to take a hit on all this?
But I mean, in all honesty, guys, don't envy me. I mean, you two have something I could only dream of. Like I tried to have the white picket fence. I wanted more than anything the white picket fence, but it turned out it was just not for me. Things went south multiple
All
times.
choices have consequences.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But I think everybody kind of has that feeling where it's like, oh, I'm envious of this person because of this, and I
Hold up, let me get.
it's all about like what we
see
don't
my ass. Yes, I have legs. It is true.
Yeah, we don't all just exist as like torsos, despite what people think.
I don't exist at all.
No,
AI creation.
That might be preferable.
I don't know. You go on the internet, you search for Archwinger. I mean, that's like some personality I've made up. Like, you get more hits for him than my real name. Is Archwinger real and I'm fake? Have I been sleeping more and waking up less or something?
Yeah, well, that's what somebody said. Is that the real Archwinger?
Is that
what's like if I die tomorrow? Like 20 people tops missed the real world me, and like 1,000 people knows Archwinger's missing. Maybe he's more real.
Yeah, the version that you put out on Substack is actually you. It's not not who's,
I mean, that is the
doing
thing,
work
though.
that you're doing.
I remember seeing Rolo for the first time. I'm like, is that Rolo?
Mhm.
And it wasn't disappointed, but it's like the first time I read Rational Mail, I was like thinking this is like some high rolling businessman, like short hair and no beanie and like always like not in his 40s.
Yeah.
I would have expected him younger. And then I saw him, I'm like, huh, okay. It's like, okay, moving. Not what I expected. I loved Ryan's take. He's like, I was so glad he wasn't 315 pounds. It's like, but that was the thing that Ryan told me too. The first time Ryan saw me, he's like, oh, you actually lift. I'm like, what? He's like, stay around long enough and you will know what I mean. You will know what I mean. And he was right. He was right. Like so many Anons who turned out, like even Illimitable Man turned out to be some fucking Indian, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, you see that a lot, like even in like the dissident rights, which I know Hawk and I mostly kind of inhabit. These guys who are Anons, they're like some little scrawny Puerto Rican talking about like the great Aryan race and all this stuff. It's like,
Wasn't that
I get it, but at the same time, it's like you're not exuding those values. You can be proud of who you are.
Wasn't that raw egg nationalist who
Yeah.
turned out to be a fatty or whatever?
No, he was like some scrawny Latino dude with like fucked up teeth, and he put his profile pictures the glowing red eyes with this jack dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. So like I get why people go Anon, and honestly, I wish I would have, so that way I could have got the I literally said this morning that like I chose to be a retard on the internet instead of collecting a pension, right? Or I could have had a pension, but I decided to be a retard on the internet. I wish I wouldn't have went with my real name because I would be in a completely different situation. Like I would be in about like 3 or 4 months, I would be off for the summer and I wouldn't have to do anything and I'd still be collecting a paycheck. But here I am. It is what it is. But like then again, on the other side of this, there's also something for me at stake because I am who I am. You could find me in person, you could see what I do, and I have to live up to something if I'm going to be an online brand. Not necessarily have to, but like
wait, is
if
that
people
really?
want to trust me, then yeah.
I mean, raw egg nationalist doesn't look that scrawny. Yeah,
Okay, maybe
he
I'm
looks
thinking about
okay.
somebody else.
No, he looks okay. Yeah, no, he looks fine actually. He looks like one of Arch's. But
I mean,
looks fine.
only so many guys can be like huge and buff. I mean, I'm a skinny fuck. I look good with my shirt off, but I mean, like I don't turn heads with my shirt on in the room. But I mean, you can tell I've seen the inside of a gym before, and that's good. I'm
I
not
mean,
that fuck.
same. I mean, that's the meme, right? Jack Napier doesn't have arms. It's like, it's true. It's true. Although when you put me next to Hawk, I'm like, okay, then you can see I lift. But that's because Hawk isn't that big.
Well, also, like you're Dutch, so I mean, you're like 7 feet tall, so it makes your arm look skinny. And like 7 feet is like the shortest Dutch person in existence.
That was hilarious though when I met the expats and they were like, "Wait, you're Dutch, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." You're not very tall. I'm like, "Shut up."
You're like the tallest person in Georgia, but the shortest Dutchman ever.
Yes, that is unfortunately true. I am 6 foot, which is short for a Dutch guy. So all you Americans who are like, men only want women don't want a man who's 6 feet tall, go fuck yourself.
Like, Dutch women are like,
go ahead and
I don't want a man who's 7'6" or taller.
Dude, when I come to the States, your women will throw themselves at me, basking in my glory of Dutchness. Where it's like, he's so tall, and I'll be like, yes, finally, I'm tall. And then the other Dutch are coming with their ships, and the East Indian Trading Company was breathed back into life, where it's like, fuck. Well, there goes my conquistadorial days.
Yeah, I kind of get that though, because I've said this before, but like my wife's family is very, very tall. My wife is 5'8", her dad's 6'7", so yeah.
Oh, Mish might be coming. He just got off work.
I
never
know what time it is over there.
Yeah.
In Saudi?
What time is it in Georgia?
8.
So Georgia, so you're a little further east from the Netherlands then, because you were like +7, I think, when you were there.
Yeah, no, right now in the Netherlands it's 6.
Yeah.
Watson just texted me. He got a fine for camping. He's like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, that's fucking gay.
Yeah, he was camping out with his girl, and he's like, all of a sudden, we were almost swatted. I'm like,
Oh,
what? He's like, yeah, we had officers coming here with handcuffs and pepper spray and body cams. And what the fuck? Me and my girl, we both got fined. Apparently, somebody saw them and called. It's like, oh my God, we have campers. It's like, what the hell? They got knife attacks.
Here,
We got women being harassed. You're going to worry about campers?
That makes me think of fucking Hostile by Pantera. What the hell? My mom got jumped, they ran is one of the lines in there. I'll see if I can find the lyrics. But yeah, basically like same deal where the police are harassing people like that, but you got people actively getting stabbed and they're not concerned about that. If my wife and I take our camper somewhere, then they usually have like or if they're tent, which I'm guessing that's probably what they were doing, usually have to like buy or rent out a lot or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, something stupid like that.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, the truth and right and wrong, the boundaries of the law. You seem to miss a point. Arresting for a joint. You seem to wonder why hundreds of people die. You're writing tickets, man. My mom got jumped. They ran.
Oh, well, there you go. It's like, welcome to the Netherlands. I was talking to a French guy today. We were talking politics. Like, the dudes I've met here, most of them are pretty based. Most of them. A majority like are a little bit white knighty, but Max, the American I met, he's pretty fucking based.
You're in like Eastern Europe, and most of the expats are people who moved to Eastern Europe from somewhere they like less. So
and the French guy as well. We were talking about Le Pen. I'm like, yeah, I heard Le Pen got arrested. He's like, yeah, that is some scary shit. Where they're now imprisoning their political enemies. It's like, ooh. And yeah, that's happening in France. It's like, wow.
We're the Western first world. They're locking up political people in France. They're sending people to jail in the UK for social media posts. I mean,
and in Germany.
They were searching people's groceries during COVID in Australia to take the alcohol out so we get unruly in their captive apartments. Like, I mean, and this is like the Western first world here. Like, this is like Botswana. It's like the Western first world.
No, but seriously, look at fucking Germany, run by women. That whole department of like social media arrest, all run by women. And I see it now and I see it again. Like I see it fucking everywhere. I've seen it so many times at work. Every time you give women power, they will tone police. They will fucking tone police.
It's just as we get more and more advanced as like a society, you begin to realize that like people get more and more progressive and they want more and more safety because we're more and more comfortable. And I don't know the solution to this. Like, I don't think we should.
Oh, I know, but nobody wants to do it because it can't
I don't think
done.
we like. There's an argument of like people need a good job and a good pay, but there is also a point of like you don't want to give people spoons because it's going to keep them busy and paid. Like we have technology, we need to continue advancing as a society and alleviate suffering as much as we possibly can because I think the gift of technology and of smarter people who can engineer things is to alleviate suffering. But at the same time, there is a degree of suffering that's necessary for people to prosper because they learn, they build themselves into something. But what the hell is that balance? I don't know, because people have less and less kids as they get more and more advanced as society too, because you realize that like having kids costs money, costs time when you could be doing other things. Like, I don't know the answer to these questions. That's why I ask them all the time.
I mean, because
the popular theory is we're going to follow the Rome direction. Once things get too comfortable and decadent, things collapse, your economy sucks, people get actually hungry, there are guns, and then we just start the process all over again.
Because like there is no solution that people are willing to take. We all know women will give up freedom for security. And that's what's happening now.
Yep. The second things get hard, like working a job sucks and fearing for your safety sucks. The second things get hard and people are hungry, women's rights will be at the window. Like they want to find the biggest guy with the most guns and the most suits.
But Arch is right. That will only happen while people are hungry. And so far,
exactly.
What do you think in Europe they're focusing so much on eating the bugs?
They want us to keep things going a little. Like the people in charge, every year they stay in power to make a few more bajillion that they can fuck off with, and so every year they can get you to eat the bugs or to drive a certain car or drive less or keep you from traveling.
Look this up. Look this up. In the Netherlands, it's already happening. They're constructing factories to process mealworms into food, into your daily food, into bread, things like that.
It's only a
They
matter of time
want-
before those factories end up being like mealworms, and your political opponents end up in those factories, and
Yeah,
Soylent Green.
yeah, no, that shit is happening. That shit is absolutely happening.
Yeah,
so,
well,
so
I
the
always
homeless
say,
disappear from your streets because they're all in the factory getting put in your food.
I always say that like as long as people can drink a high noon, watch porn, and have Uber Eats delivered to their house, there will be absolutely no revolution because people are way too comfortable and sedated. And like
Red
Arch said,
circuses.
yeah, exactly. People will not revolt in that respect. And there is a certain degree of comforts that I think everybody needs to afford themselves to not drive yourself absolutely nuts. You see too many people who are like terminally online, libertarian types that just can't get out of their own way and, enjoy the real world. But, the guys who say that, sports, music, everything is a distraction. It's like, you can enjoy things, right? We can all just
Dude, that's how you and I became friends. We bonded over music.
yeah.
Well, but
Yeah,
how
that-
just
that
low
happens
can
to
we
me for a
go?
while.
Like, what if we just start taking like all the druggies and homeless, all the political opponents, people we don't like who say things on social media, grind up half of them into food in the factories, put the other half in like a gladiator arena for the entertainment of the masses, and that'll keep things going for like another decade, right?
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, the
agree.
Hunger Games. I've always said that the Eurovision Song Festival, those are just modern Hunger Games.
Yeah.
But man, have you seen that? The display, the makeup, the artistry that goes behind that, where it's like, ugh. I always get this icky feeling when I see that shit. It's absolutely terrible. But, I mean, what are you going to do about it? I mean, I packed up and left. I mean, I'm probably going to go back because I now know where it's like, okay, what's it going to be like? Blah, 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 blah. Made some connections. I do want to hit up that one guy about the real estate again, though. And work on some other things.
I mean, can you buy real estate right now? Do you need like special, like, do you have to like buy residency from the government or something? Or like, the only people who
Yeah,
foreign or come and buy property, do they?
Those are things I need to figure out a bit. But I mean, everybody speaks green, so you know.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. I occasionally think I want to like move and whatnot, but I realize that like when you live in Pennsylvania in the States, there's like an upside and a downside. Pennsylvania is ridiculously cheap to live in, but the downside is it's ridiculously cheap to live in. So if you want to leave, you can't leave because your stuff isn't worth anything. But once again, you make 50 to 100 grand a year, you can live comfortably. But
Huh.
you go anywhere else, Florida, where I would love to move, North Carolina, any warm state, your cost of living's right through the fucking roof. So I have a good network around here, people who care about me. Obviously, my whole family's around here. And with our daughter coming, there's not much I could do.
Well,
But
and
I'm good.
politically, the states can have a good thing coming. Like what is it? The midterms? No, it's not the midterms. What are they called?
They're coming up.
The midterms are next year, but
Oh yeah, they are coming up. Like, I mean, they better stay red. They better stay red.
I don't think they're going to. I think Trump started off pretty strong, but it seems like he's kind of going back to just cruise control and letting things go. The whole mass deportations deal, all the Doge stuff has now pretty much been smoke and mirrors. And I don't say this gleefully. It makes me sad because like I was excited at first. I'm like, oh, I'm way wrong about Trump this time around. But now it just seems like he's kind of like, no, we made a bunch of noise, but we're going to let all that momentum go. Where it was like, okay, well, you had the chance to secure the Doge cuts. You're at the height of your political, career right now. You're as popular as you ever been. Everybody loves what Doge is doing. But then you say, oh no, we're just going to sign in last year's budget after we cut all this. And then we're going to raise the military budget by the exact amount we cut from everywhere else after we just signed in they're not serious.
So everything they found, they're not going to do any. But what about the tax cuts? You wanted to do the tax cuts, right?
Yeah, those aren't coming. They'll come once he's balanced the many $trillion budget or something. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
he'll probably like try some kind of midterm surprise where like, look, the economy's getting better. I turn on the money printers. Like the stock market's going
Cut
up.
the
Like,
rates.
look at me, I saved the economy. Keep voting for us in the midterms, and we'll see if people fall for that.
Oh,
But I mean,
no. I thought you guys were going to get tax cuts and the spending was going to go down and the national debt was going to go down.
Yeah, they all all Republicans campaign like that, and
Well,
as
yeah,
soon as they get in,
it's
it's
a matter
right
of
back
who
to
gets the
business
money.
as
Once
normal.
we take that money, away from you guys, we're going to give it to the military, and then it just goes to their preferred contractors and buddies. It's just who's pocketing the
Right.
money. I mean, governments exist to steal your money and extract labor from you. It's just a matter of who's stealing your money this time around.
Oh
Yeah. Like
no.
I generally like the big tech guys more than everybody else. Like I like their direction. I disagree with them on some stuff, but it's like those are probably the best influences that we have on Trump right now because they're at least focused on like tearing apart institutions and the managerial state. But the matter is that like do the other interests that are behind Trump as well, are they going to allow these departments to get rolled back and cut? And it seems like the answer is no. Like everybody, there's too many hands in the cookie jar, and no one's willing to just say like, no, we're done, you're fired. They laid off a bunch of people, but ultimately it doesn't seem like much is getting changed. Like I like the fact that they're getting rid of all these people, but like, why are you giving them severance pay? Bye. No, you're not our problem anymore. You should have never had this job in the first place. You're done.
Firing a federal employee for cause, without like
Mhm.
they can get them to quit and take severance
Mhm.
rather than having them wait and see what happens. Because firing a federal employee is really fucking hard.
Yeah.
And so if you say, hey, we'll give you 8 months severance if you voluntarily quit, that
Yeah.
got a lot of people out the door because like we're coming for you, but take
Mhm.
this and you'll get 8 months severance. A lot of people will voluntarily take it and go find a new job. It's the unemployables who will raise Cain and because they're
Mhm.
separate, they have a shit job and their severance is going to be huge anyway, and they can't find another job.
That's the same as the boomers, right? My social security. My
Yeah,
social security.
the tech people though are kind of like the best shot for the country because technology, when they come out with new things, has a strong deflationary impact. Like when we come out with the
Mhm.
internet, we come out with like a better shipping lanes, a better cars. They come out with like
Yeah.
if AI turns out to like make it so no one has to work, we have all the shit we need. Like I mean, like technology is going to be where it's at. It can have a strong deflationary effect in the economy and keep things going for another couple decades at least. I mean, if they have any good breakthroughs.
Dude, I was talking like yesterday. That girl, that coffee date with, she was actually pretty clever. She was hella smart. She was studying dentistry, and we were talking about the West a bit. She's like, "You're from the Netherlands, right? Like, isn't the West really weird right now?" We got a little bit into that, and we were talking. She was very financially literate, which I
Mhm.
liked a lot. Like, I didn't like that she was weighing way too much, so nothing happened. Don't worry, guys. Like, she was way too heavy. Where I'm like, we're gonna go for a 10K walk. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna leave you better than I found you. Which
Hell
I
yeah.
did. We made 15,000 steps. So good on me.
Nice.
Support, like, you know what, guys? Go for the fat chick. Give her a good time. Don't do anything with her other than take her on a walk. That's what you do with fat chicks. They'll remember you for forever, and
There
they'll
was a
walk
time
more.
way back when like blowjobs were a fat girl thing. That was kind of like your reward for lowering yourself to date a fat girl. And then all girls started doing blowjobs and fat girls lost their edge.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, I remember I had a Tinder date and she had a pretty face, but she was bigger. And I had like the decision to make. I'm like, okay, are we gonna go to this party and just, I'm gonna drop her off, or am I gonna go all in on this? And I'm like, you know what, fuck, I'm gonna go all in. So yeah, sure enough. And for a couple months after that, I'd be like, hey, I kind of want something. She'd stop over, stay over, and then in the morning she'd leave. And I'm like, all right, yeah, that's cool.
But we were talking about finances. Like I said, she was very financially literate. She was very responsible with everything. And she's like, but isn't the West like having a lot of issues with that? I'm like, yeah, because of Social Security. A lot of people are reliant on the government for their pension.
Yeah.
They didn't save up. They spent more than they made. And they did not consider inviting in millions of people who are not contributing to this social program will end up depleting the finances for their own Social Security, which is happening right now.
They also assume the kind of pyramid scheme. Every new generation will be big enough to, make a
Yeah.
profit. Essentially, we'll pay for the old people, and we'll have profit to spend on other stuff. And then, people
Nope.
are life's too easy to have fewer kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this a little bit before, where it's like every generation, basically like the amount of people that supports a retiree gets halved. So, back when Social Security was first founded, it was like 16 workers per one retiree. Then it eventually became 8. Then it became 4. And now it's like 2 workers per retiree. And you can't have a society that basically has, this trend of constantly one generation funding the older generation, where somebody's eventually going to have to say, like, the older generations, you're going to get your Social Security because, like, it's unfair that we told you we would pay out, and if we cut it off now, then you're fucked. But, like, the cutoff being, like, I don't know, 40 years old, let's say. So, like, basically people under the age of 40, you're not getting Social Security. We're eliminating taking that from your check. We're sorry, we spent the money. Our government was irresponsible. We fought all these wars. We spent all this money on entitlement programs and all this other bullshit. It's now on you to save for your retirement.
Thank
But
you
if
for
you're
your
over
22
40,
years of Social Security payments, though.
yeah, just something needs to happen, because basically what they're proposing now is just people have to keep retiring older and older and older and older, and it's fucked. It's bad.
Well, that's why they're hoping that we've got to fix the birth rate issue. We'll import enough like working immigrants to keep the economy going. We got to keep this generation of workers big enough to support the old people, or people will see through like the emperor's got no clothes.
Yeah, and we're seeing how that's going right now, and how happy people are about that. Like, there's no real good solution for everything right now. I mean, you could do mass deportations, but I think even at that, I still don't think you're going to bring birth rates up, because people, I don't think people are feeling economically comfortable enough to go out and have kids. Like, for my wife and I, it's kind of like, okay, well, we're going to have to figure some shit out, and we're going to have to rearrange some stuff. Like, her car's almost paid off, so we'll be fine. But it is kind of like, okay, well, when you have a kid, you have to consider things economically. And I think back, forever ago, when people could save, and, cars were a lot better, and, you didn't have to drive as far to get a decent job. Your purchasing power went a lot further. These just weren't considerations. Like, you had a kid, and it's like, okay, well, everything's all right. I can afford to keep my wife.
We got one
at
due in
home.
September, and so the wife's like, we got to like buy a 3-row SUV to fit both car seats in. But now, especially with tariffs in play, a 3-row SUV is gonna be like $80,000 or something stupid. And I'm like, we're not buying a 3-row SUV. We're gonna look at like a used minivan. And that's And like, I'm a goddamn lawyer. I make 6 figures, and my wife works too. We're a 2-income family, and we're gonna be looking at a used minivan because just between the mortgage and that kind of car payment, we're dipping into our savings every month. And I'm a goddamn lawyer. That's just how it is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in Pennsylvania. I make probably more than twice the amount of the average automotive technician. But even at that, it's like, if we want to have a nice amount of groceries and do nice things on the weekend, go out to eat once or twice and enjoy ourselves, it's like, fuck, sometimes we're a little bit strapped for cash throughout the next couple weeks. My wife being an EMT, it's fucked, man. To be an EMT here in, at least where we live, it's so criminal how little these people get paid. You're saving people's lives. You're taking them to, birth children, elderly people who are literally dying. You're rushing them to the hospital, and these people don't even make $20 an hour. Like, it is
not exactly a 9 to 5. You work some funny hours, don't you?
Yeah, you work 12-hour shifts.
I remember I was talking to my guitar teacher about this, and he was looking for a job, and he wanted to do part-time. And I'm like, yeah, because why do you want to do part-time? Because I know why I wanted to do it, because like I make enough online to not need a 40-hour work week. Mm-hmm. But he's like, you know why? Because even if I work 40 hours a week, I still can't get by. It's not rewarding enough. Why would I sacrifice all that time for nothing? Because even in the Netherlands, I calculated this, and thank you, Aaron Clary, for helping me out with this one. I calculated the most profitable amount of hours to work per week with the least amount of taxes. And it is not 40 hours a week. It is between 24 and 32 hours a week. You are able to keep most of your income with the least amount of hours worked for taxes. Mm-hmm. Because if you work 40 hours a week, 8 of those hours, a full 8 hours, is gone to tax.
If I If I told you, and I'll tell you guys once we get off air, I just had the best paycheck of my entire life this past pay, and looking at how much it went to taxes, I'll explain when we get off. But why don't fuck it. Let's wrap it there unless you guys got something else you wanted to hit on.
Hey, you want to wrap it up? I was
I
gonna have
actually
it.
an anger-inducing amount of money on mine too. I had that federal income tax plus Social Security. I got like a child support to the first wife on mine too. It's rough.
Oof.
You see what my health insurance costs, like medical insurance for the family. The premiums we pay and they cover nothing. Like we pay our
Oh,
copay
yeah.
and we have like a $16,000 family deductible until we hit that. Like, well, we're having a kid. I'm gonna get some shit checked out. My daughter had a thing done. We are gonna do all our medical. We're gonna make money on insurance for
Yeah.
at least 1 year.
Yeah, my God. Awful. But yeah, let's wrap her up. I got some other shit to do, and I want to talk to you guys a little bit off air.
Yeah, cool.
Jack, go ahead, plug your stuff. I see you got it in the comments here. Go ahead.
So I have a new essay out. It came out yesterday about girls who get it. We bang our heads against the wall very often about picking up chicks and it just not working. It might be that it's not you. I have had the pleasure of meeting a great handful of women who absolutely got it, who wanted me to win, but weren't going to give it up easily, but were going to give it up playfully. And that essay is dedicated to all of them, where it's like, ladies, you have made my pickup days the best days I have ever experienced. Those girls were amazing. So please go check that out. I would very much appreciate it. Also, I have a spot open for the Personal Accountability Program. It is only one spot. I used to do group training. Now it is only one. One person gets my full dedicated attention with a personalized training program, diet plan, form checks, bi-weekly consultations, and private contact, whether that be via WhatsApp or Telegram or whatever chat application you use. If I don't have it, I will get it for you, but you will be in direct contact with me for my waking hours as often as you need me. So, yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah. Arch, I know you have been absolutely crushing it on Substack. I'm always getting your emails and I want to read some of your articles, but I'm just usually when I see them, I swipe them off. And as soon as it's out of sight, out of mind. But yeah, go ahead, plug your stuff, man.
Okay, yeah. So Jack is like, his has the infomercial voice. So if you like Archwinger from Reddit and you think his stuff was badass, well, now a new, more mature Archwinger. Just go to archwinger.substack.com. I'm pissing shit out of my keyboard like before.
Hell yeah, man. Well, yeah, make sure you guys all go check out their stuff. As for me, acommoncrown.com. The reason my computer crashed earlier is because I was trying to mix all the footage, and apparently my computer's just a little bit too old there. So there's that, and then I'll have Mel from her at it's previously prohibited podcast at Village Crazy Lady on Twitter. She's really, really cool. We're going to talk about foreign lobbying this week. So that'll be Thursday at 7 p.m. And yeah, I think that's it.
Ooh, you talking about the Jordanians?
We'll be talking about them. We'll be talking about everybody, the Qataris too. So
we'll be watching you, man. Buttons on a space laser.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, everybody, happy Easter. If you don't celebrate, I hope you guys have a fantastic Sunday. And until next Sunday, that was Post Zero.
Cheers, boys.